Hi there, I'm Hannah from Slings, and in this video we're going to chat all about Pocketweave, why you would want a Pocketweave sling to carry your baby, what are the wrapping qualities of it, and how is a Pocketweave constructed and why is it different from a regular weave. So first of all, we are going to have a look at how it's constructed and why it is a little bit different from a regular weave. So I've got a couple of bits of fabric here to show you, and I think that this is the best way to really show exactly what I mean. So we're going to start off with looking at this little scrap piece of Raja black and white, which is a Pocketweave sling. And I've chosen this little piece because it has not been stitched into a sling, so it means we can actually see the edge of the fabric and we can take a deeper look in to find out how it's constructed. As you can see, this piece of Raja black and white has got a really crisp design, so you can see the eyes of the Raja here and the nose here of the tiger, and the black and white colour is very, very stark. So it's a pure white and a pure black. Now this is only achievable through using a pocket weave technique. And the reason for this is that pocket weave technique actually has two layers of fabric running across the warp, whereas a normal or sort of regular weave just has one layer of yarns in the warp. So then what happens is we've got a black warp and a white warp. And then the weft, so the yarns that are going across the weft, we also have a white and a black going across in the weft. So where these two colours meet, the fabric, the two layers of cloth, the black and the white, are anchored in place. And what you will find then is if I open this up a little bit so that you can see here on the edge, for example, we have got the black cloth on one side and the white cloth on the other side, because we've got the warp and the weft crossing over each other and creating the full black solid colour and the full white solid colour. And then in between, the fabric gets anchored in place, and then we have a pocket of air, which is why it's called a pocket weave. So in between all of these areas, there's actually a pocket of air. So that fabric is two layers. You can see, I know it's quite small to see that that's one side of the fabric and the other side of the fabric. Now I have another sample to show you in a second, which will show you this in even more clearly. But first of all, I'll show you how that compares with our standard weave, which we use a sateen and a satin weave to create the pattern on this fabric. So again, here I've brought a piece that hasn't been finished. So this is this time just one single layer of fabric, and then you've got the weft. This has been woven on a brown warp, so chocolate brown warp instead of the black warp. And then we've got the ecru or kind of creamy coloured weft, and then you'll see wherever these two cross over each other, the warp dilutes the weft a little bit. So you always see a bit of that warp colour coming through on the weft, whereas because we've used white and a black weft, whenever these cross over you get that solid colour. So you're really able to have a super interesting design features coming across with the colourways and the options of the pocket weave. That's one great benefit of the pocket weave, and we'll talk about the wrapping qualities in a moment or two, but first of all I'll show you how this looks across different kinds of colourways. So you can see the versions there, the kind of black and white against the brown and ecru or white as well. It's just it's a natural yarn. That one, it's a wild silk yarn rather than a cotton yarn, so it's a little bit paler in tone anyway. But of course you can see how crisp the Raja black and white is in comparison to the Raja Java, which is the brown one. I want to just quickly show you how this looks in another scenario with a different pattern and colourway. Here we have the Augmented Pattern, Now this one that I've got at the front here, this is Augmented Enchanted, and it's been woven on a lovely gradation, a dual gradation in behind, and then we've got a beautiful teal weft. So again, this is the standard weave, this is not a pocket weave, and you will be able to see across where the weft crosses over the warp, you see that kind of blended tone there. So yes, you still see the pattern and it still is a beautiful looking item, but you do have that colour collaboration. So the teal is not quite as bright as the true yarn, and then on the back you will be able to see that weave structure there as well. So you do see a little bit of the warp coming through onto the weft at the front. Whereas if I pick up this with this Augmenta Shawn, which has been woven in a pocket weave technique, pocket weaved structure. This has again a beautiful kind of dual tone, purple tone gradation and a lovely electric blue weft. But this time, because of the same colours being used in the warp and the weft and that double layer of fabric, you're seeing a solid teal colour here, and the pattern is very clear and it's quite striking. So when I turn this over, again you see the back of the fabric and you're seeing that pure solid teal colour coming through the back, and the lovely pattern is picked out in the purple tones. So you do get that lovely kind of clarity of colour when you're using a pocket weave. Now this is a great one to show you the 2 layers of cloth, because there's a lot of blank space in the pattern. So unlike Raja, where it's very all over pattern, very much an all over pattern, this one has 2 layers, and if I can just open that up, you will be able to see that a lot more clearly. So there we have the pocket in between. So that's your blue cloth and your purple gradation cloth, and I can get my finger right in there and you can feel that space, and then you can understand the anchor. So the star is anchoring everything in together. So you will find that some of the items that have got much larger space, this one works because you have got lots of stars all the way across the sling, but you may find that some patterns that have very big open blank spaces may need to be anchored down with little dots that you will find. So for example, we do have a Smaug design, and that one has a lovely kind of blank space at the top and the bottom of the sling, and we have added a little stitch in there all the way across, and it almost looks like stars or little sparkles coming across, and that's to anchor the fabric in place so it doesn't fully shift whenever you're wearing it and using it. So that is the construction of the pocket weave. And now I will talk a little bit about the wrapping qualities. So I have the Okanami Viridian pocket weave sling on just now with my baby doll, and the amazing wrapping qualities of pocket weave, it's all about that extra bit of cushioning that you get from the pockets of air. So what you find is that the fabric that has, so it's 2 layers of fabric, and we have the pockets of air in between, and that creates kind of like an extra level or layer of padding. It's really soft and comfortable on your shoulders, and it can mean that you can have a really comfortable wrapping experience, comfortable carrying experience with your baby, even with quite a lightweight sling. So this one is actually quite lightweight. It's 260 GSM, grams per square meter, and that means that it's going to be breathable, and it's it's lightweight and it's good for newborns, and it's great for the summer, but it's also good for heavier babies in the pocket weave because you have that extra layer of support. So most of our customers do comment on the cushiness of a pocket weave and how lovely and cushy it feels on your shoulders, and how lovely and comfortable it feels for your little one. And it means that your pocket weave sling often can last all the way up into toddlerhood, and it's a really lovely toddler sling. But again, if you do look for one with a slightly lighter GSM, then you can use this from newborn all the way up. So it's gives you a really lovely range of comfortable carrying for your little one. The other thing to note about pocket weave is that of course there's 2 layers of fabric going on in the loom, so there's extra yarn involved, and it is also a more complex weave structure, and it does take more time to weave. So you will find that pocket weave slings are often a little bit more expensive than your standard satin weave, which is our regular weave that we use. So we love pocket weave particularly for the wrapping qualities. It is cushy and comfortable on your shoulders. It's wonderful for wrapping little ones all the way up to toddlerhood, and we especially love the different design, look and feel and colorways that you can actually play around with when you have a pocket weave sling. You can see on this Okinami here, we've got a kind of blended color in the kind of mid-tone, so you can also play around with that as well. But of course you can see on the wave, we've got that clean green on the wave and this pure white on the wave up at the top there, and that would be in comparison to an Okinami like this one, which is Okinami Wipeout. And this one is woven on a standard weave, and of course you then get that blend with the weft coming through. You still see the lovely colours going on in the warp, but you do have a different look and slightly less striking in terms of pattern crispness and clarity. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions at all, please do pop your comment below and we'll get back to you. You can also join our community group Clan Osha, which is on Facebook, and we have a lovely community of customers there all ready to help chat with you, and our staff team are there as well on hand to give you any advice that you need. You can reach out to us on Facebook Messenger, on the Messenger chat on our website, and also by email. So we would love to hear from you if you're interested to know anything more about any of our slings, and particularly our pocket weave items. So thank you so much for watching today, and I will be looking forward to chatting with you again soon. Thank you, bye bye.